Been involved with the Presto project since 2018, and I've been chair of the technical steering committee since 2020. So that's a little bit about me. When I came to the project, I was frustrated by the state of data engineering at the time. And honestly, the best way I could describe these times, was the quote from David Arely. Big data was something that everyone claimed they were doing, but no one really knew how to do it. Yet everyone thinks that everyone else is doing it. So everyone was claiming that they were all doing it. In other words, there was a lot of confusion, and like what I witnessed some really gnarly architecture, data architecture that was really just getting around bad data infrastructure. And when I discovered Presto, I knew very quickly that it filled that kind of like really big gap out there and kind of like the data infrastructure stack. And I was really instantly kind of drawn to it. Since 2018, things have changed a lot. There's a lot more maturity in how people are approaching data infrastructure. And I think we're all kind of like getting the feel of what works well. And we know that Presto really works well for modern data infrastructure, which is why we're all here. I've had the privilege to both witness and contribute to the evolution of the project since that time. This includes, how to handle really large-scale batch workloads, how to accelerate Presto to encompass, more use cases, in particular low latency use cases, and how to better position Presto as the center of your data architecture. And my experience through this exciting time has given me some unique insights into the direction of the project and its incredible potential. And today I look forward to sharing those insights with you. But first, let's quickly recap what Presto is. Presto is a robust, open source, distributed SQL query engine capable of querying large data sets residing directly in distributed storage. So let's unpack that. Presto is open source, but open in many different ways. So first, it's, the code is open source. It uses the Apache license. So you can modify the source code and build something based off of it without us even knowing about it. But you probably don't have to do that because it's really extensible through plugins and connectors. So you can configure it to kind of like fit your exact needs and adapt it to your data sources and to have it fit your particular use case. It also uses kind of like an open standard in terms of the front-end language, which is ANSI SQL. This is kind of like the familiar lingua franca of data engineering. No needing to learn special syntax or semantics. Standard ANSI SQL is all you need to know, and you probably already know it. It's distributed, which means that it can scale out to fit the size of your data and your workloads and kind of grow with you. And finally, encapsulates multiple runtimes, really as a platform. So there's an efficient MPP distributed execution for data exploration and dashboards, and a really fully reliable Spark distributed execution for batch, letting you use a single language that scales from dashboards to your largest batch workloads. So that's a lot. There's a lot going on with that. Why does Presto stand out? Firstly, Presto is fast. You get great performance out of the box using Presto thanks to a strong vertically integrated stack. Features such as predicate pushdown, sophisticated multi-level caching help make Presto fast enough for dashboards and data exploration. Presto is interactive. You don't need to wait too long to get your data. It's fast enough that you can iterate quickly and explore data in real time using BI tools or standard SQL using a SQL execution tool. Presto has robust batch support. Presto and Spark can scale to huge jobs, all while using standard Presto SQL. That means you can experiment quickly with Presto Interactive and put it in a batch pipeline and forget about it. So Spark's robust disaggregated shuffle and checkpointing, You won't be woken up in the middle of the night due to a pipeline failure when you put it on Presto and Spark. And Presto is highly scalable. It scales to huge workloads in hyperscaler companies, and it's used in production there. So you know that Presto is going to be able to grow with you on your journey. But finally, Presto is also reliable. Because it's used to some of the largest data lakes in the world, you know that it's not a toy. It's used kind of like in some of the toughest environments out there. But you also don't need to be a Meta or an Uber to use it. You can use it kind of like for your lake, which is big or small. So let's talk about the architecture of Presto and how it's built for high performance and scalability. Presto for interactive is best thought of as an MPP, and true to MPP design, Presto is by default highly optimized for interactive usage. Presto uses a pull-based architecture. In a nutshell, clients pull for results, which trigger work to be done downstream in downstream stages, which themselves may pull from downstream stages. This means that Presto only has to keep in memory enough data to return data to the client, which means less opportunities for out of memory and quicker results for exploratory queries. Presto uses just-in-time compilation of key operators to improve performance. What this means is that operators may be custom generated for your specific query, which ensures that the code is optimized for your data. Presto also allows for scaling out to multiple coordinators. In this mode, multiple coordinators work cooperatively over the same worker fleet, bringing high availability and horizontal scalability for the control plane. Coordinators may be separated from workers to improve worker efficiency and allow for more optimized execution on the workers. And finally, Presto has sophisticated caching of everything from metadata, footers, file footers, to the actual data itself and result fragments. So through this multi-level caching, this makes Presto ideal even for low latency dashboards. With Presto, organizations can build lake houses that combine, the features of data warehouses and data lakes. What this means is like you don't have to re-ETL or reach for a different tool, to do, kind of like data warehousing, data warehousing strategies. So take dashboarding. Because Presto is able to query data at the source and join it, if you can ingest the data in real time, you can use Presto to quickly get live results, from a dashboard. Likewise, for business intelligence, Presto has support for complex multi-stage queries that are often generated by business intelligence tools. Because it can query, once again, data from the source and can do it quickly, it integrates really well directly with business intelligence tools without having to use a separate warehousing tool. Presto obviously is kind of like built for interactive exploration because of the pull-based architecture and the ability to execute queries fast and efficiently. You can very quickly iterate over data science questions and data exploration queries to gain insights into your data through a query execution tool or a notebook. There's batch processing. Any warehousing tool would require batch to ingest data. Presto has robust support for batch style ETL through Presto on Spark, and leveraging that distributed execution framework, including disaggregated shuffle and robust checkpointing. You get the reliability benefits of Spark using the same SQL dialect of Presto. You don't have to learn a new tool or reach for a different tool. You can use Presto for that as well. And then finally, you can build custom applications that are powered by Presto. So, last year we heard about from Meta, the experimentation platform. It's an example of a custom application that is really just powered by Presto, and the logic sits in Presto. This allows you to build something really quickly without having to kind of like reinvent the wheel and build things from scratch. So you can use Presto for, really custom purposes as well, using data perhaps from a lake. So let's, we talked about, what is Presto and, some of the design and architecture. Let's talk about, kind of like the lifeblood of Presto, which is the technical community. The technical community is what produces the code for Presto, which really is kind of like the artifact that everyone knows and uses. So it produces the really the most important thing of the Presto community, which is the code. At the bottom, you have the foundation, which is the contributor. Presto contributors are anyone who submits code to Presto. So anyone who submits a pull request or adds a change to Presto is a Presto contributor. We want to add more Presto contributors in the coming months. So please stay tuned for some of these initiatives that are going to encourage more contributions and more participation for contributors in the project. Above contributors, we have committers. Committers approve code and understand what the bar for quality is for code that comes into Presto. And they also understand what the technical direction of the project is and what code should be merged or shouldn't. Above committers, we have the technical steering committee. The technical steering committee establishes what the bar is for committership and also resolves technical conflicts, onboards new committers, and creates working groups. Finally, under the technical steering committee, we have multiple working groups. Working groups are established to solve particular problems that the project needs to face or needs to address. An example could be road mapping or improving documentation, things of that nature. Some of these are technically oriented, and some of these are less technically oriented. There's multiple ways of participating in the project. So you can submit a pull request, you can browse a working group, and sort of like see what a more targeted area of folks are working on. So we've established what the technical community is. Let's take a look back over the past year by the numbers. Over 100 people new people added commits to the project. And there were over 170 total authors, which is a 3% year-over-year increase. 1,600 total commits were added, which is a 45% year-over-year increase. Over 400 issues were created and 1,500 reviews were added. And remember that these stats are sort of undercounting because we're also putting a tremendous amount of work into native. So these don't reflect the entire end-to-end amount of work that's going on in the community, which is really tremendous. And I'm really proud and happy with these numbers. But I also think we can do even better. I'm really excited to announce some new initiatives planned for 2023. Our goal is to build a better sense of technical community and add more ways to participate in the Presto community. So there's a lot of exciting initiatives being planned, and I'm really happy to share a few of them here. Firstly, we'll be launching a mentorship program for those who are interested in contributing back to the technical project. Mentorship is really great if you can commit time to working on very specific tasks and you have an eagerness to be a part of the project as a contributor. So if that interests you, please stay tuned on Slack, our mailing list, or attend the TSC meeting to learn more information about these things. Secondly, we'll be forming more working groups to help guide more solutions to pressing needs of the project, such as providing the full roadmap, open source roadmap, working on documentation, and resolving technical challenges and architectural direction. Working groups are also a really terrific way to participate in the project because they work on very specific things. So whereas being introduced to the project as a whole might be overwhelming, a particular working group might be more manageable because they solve specific challenges rather than looking at things as a whole. So once again, stay tuned for more working groups. We'll be announcing this on the mailing list, in Slack, and also in our TSC meetings. Finally, we want to do a better job of providing better visibility into one's contributions to the project. So we want to highlight new contributors, help sort of help them with best practices and really target their experience, and also highlight top contributors through a leaderboard, and also providing swag also for first-time contributors as well. So once again, stay tuned for all of these initiatives. But if you like swag, then contributing to the project is going to be a good way to get some cool swag. So the year 2022, past year, has really been remarkable for the Presto project. These are just some of a few of the things that we worked on. We did complete a history-based optimizer, and I'm really excited about the potential for this project. In particular, its potential for dashboarding and batch use cases. We also worked on an adaptive query execution optimizer to replan queries based on actual statistics from prior fragments on Presto on Spark. We did a lot of work on hardening Presto on Spark and really making that rock solid in terms of reliability. And we did a lot of work on native, including Parquet, window functions, and additional function support. But the future of Presto is exciting. Several members are going to be going to production with native execution. We'll be getting native iceberg support, so we can accelerate iceberg queries, using the native execution C++ workers. Presto on Spark is getting some native support to really turbocharge Presto on Spark queries and make those highly optimized, and also kind of like bridge the gap between when you kind of like choose to use one engine or the other. We also have a whole host of optimizer and resource management improvements related to reliability and better distribution of resources to help deployments at scale and help folks use Presto without too many configuration knobs. I'll end this note on like how to get involved. For all the things I mentioned, if those excite you, please attend the TSC meetings. The TSC meetings are a terrific way to get involved with the project and learn what people are working on, and also propose ideas for directions that you think the project should go in. Stay tuned for more working groups. We'll be adding more working groups so that there's going to be more chances for participation and more chances for influence and direction. We'll be working on a backlog of beginner tasks so that folks who come into the project have a kind of like a really cookie cutter set of tasks that can help them gradually ramp up to the project. If you use Presto, consider contributing a blog post. Every time someone contributes, one of these blog posts, we get a lot of useful insights. Everyone uses Presto kind of, slightly differently. Consider telling us about how you use Presto. It's a pretty educational experience, and we all learn from each other when you do that. Finally, participate in Slack. There's lots of questions in the Slack channels, and it's a great way to both learn and also help others with their Presto journey. That concludes my talk. I just wanted to thank everyone again for coming here, and I'm really excited for the talks that are lined up for today. So thank you and welcome.